Hi, welcome to another edition of Jazzy Kitty Show. I'm here with the awesome author, Mark Wrobel. He's the author of about, was it 5 or 6 titles, Mark?
It's, I mean, I've got so many. See, this is the great thing with Miss Anelda Hathaway, and I'm going to give you some props and to your publishing company because, first of all, please allow me to do this to give you props to your publishing company because without you and Mr. Grayson and all your staff, all your all your book cover designers, my writing career would not have been possible because you were the only publisher. You're the only publisher who gave a chance to a small book author like myself a chance to actually to get my name out there, and I am truly grateful for that because I mean because you know how hard it is out there to actually because who has read my books knows that my books are very controversial, and I had the most difficult time I had not writing the books and not putting them together, not putting thoughts together. But I had the most trouble I had in my writing career was to find publishers who were willing to take a chance on such controversial books, which I am very grateful to Jazzy Kitty Publications and its staff for giving me such chance. And Mr. Nelda, I would have to say that may I say I'm gonna try to say it nicely that you're the only publisher with guts to actually giving me a chance to actually publish such books,
I think you're
which
both.
I am very grateful for.
Oh, thank you so much, Mark, for the accolades. I really appreciate it. But your books may be controversial, but they're very good reading. I'm saying it's very interesting stuff that you write, and everybody should really get their hands on it. They really should get to know you and get to know your product because it's really, really good. And I'm not just saying that because I published it. I'm saying it because I had to read it, to edit it, and it's very good, all of them. The last book that you just published is phenomenal,
And yeah,
phenomenal.
and that's what I want to talk about. And because see with me, once you start writing books, I wrote Progressive Credentialism, I wrote Started the Come. So I wrote so many books that I cannot even keep count on how many books I have published through your company, which I am very grateful for that because we have published so many books together that it's impossible to it's even impossible for me to count. Now, I want to talk about my latest book, if I may. Of course, I wrote my controversial books on different topics, but I've kind of switched gears, as you know, and I kind of ventured into an adventure book because one of my inspiring authors, if I may say so, is Tom Clancy, John Grisham, and I did manage to read some of his books. And I also met a friend of mine. He is an American Navy SEAL, but he is from the same hometown in Poland as me.
Mhm.
My where my aunt used to live in Poland. His name is Drago Jan. He wrote a book, Pledge to America. It's kind of like his autobiography, how he came here from
From
how he, that was one of his book for my book called the Operation Wrath of Saladin was were several people like John Grisham, Tom Clancy and others. And I've kind of glanced at those authors, and I figured I could write something like that. So what I did was I switched gears, like from political books. I decided to, and my friends kind of pressured me into, and they said, Mark, write a book, write an adventures book. And I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to do that? I've got no idea how to do. So what I did was I just sat in front of my computer, turned on my Dragon Naturally Speaking thing, and I started to speak to the computer, and I don't know how, but the words just came out themselves. And so
Wow.
I wrote so what I did was by the time when I started this book, Operation Raffles. I didn't at the beginning. I didn't know what I was doing because I never wrote an adventure book before. Because most of the time in college, when I was in college at Strayer University, I wrote research papers. So I've kind of knew how to write a political book. But I'm thinking, how am I going to write a? I glanced at the authors such as John Grisham and the other ones. I said, how? Okay. I said, how am I going to write a book like that? Like, for example, not John Grisham, but like Tom Clancy's book. I read his book Hunt for Red Ox. I said I know I can write like this, but how am I going to get so? So I just turned on my dragon and I just started to speak. By the time I was finished, I mean I had the whole book and I'm looking at the script, the manuscript itself of the book. And I've read, I even told you this, that I said, gee, my book is better than it came out better than Tom Clancy itself.
And in this
So,
book, you
and to be,
fictional use your
and,
friends, right?
yes, and my friends inspired me to write this. And I was like, with that book, it's like, I used my friends to actually, write the book. And I'm thinking to myself, um, I'm thinking to myself, if I can write books like that, and that's what I'm here to do also on you. It's not a major announcement. I am not getting away from my political books, but I am for now. But what I want to do is pivot towards writing books like I wrote progressive, not progressive, pardon me, but like the book Operation. I want to start writing books like this, like Operation Ralph of Saladin. I'm thinking of something else I'm gonna write, and I'm gonna pivot to those kind of books, like adventure spy books, sort
I
of thing.
have a
That's what I
question.
want to start.
How
Yes.
how did you come up with that title? Because it's very interesting. The Adventures of
What the operate? Well,
Opera.
operate. Uh, Operation Ralph of Saladin. Well, we got that's a way back story
Oh,
because most of the people don't know. I do, although I'm wearing civilian clothes now. I am serving currently in the United States. I work for the United States military. So, I mean, it was the Operation Ralph of Saladin. We were sitting with my friends in the cold, at lunch one time, and we just started to talk, blah blah blah, what the title should be. Then I talked to my friend, who's not here with us. He should remain nameless, but I talked to him. We sat, drank a beer. I said, and he tells me, Mark, you should write it in bench book. I said, okay. I figured, what title should I? And then we kind of bounced around. I said, how about Operation Ralph of Saladin? Because, and there's a secret behind that title that I'm going to reveal to the public now. The Operation Wrath of Saladin, the title Operation Wrath of Saladin, but for that you would have to understand a little bit of Islamic history, a little bit of the Middle Eastern history, because you have to know who Saladin was. Saladin was a Muslim general who actually conquered Jerusalem and Jerusalem in the 15th or 16th century. It's not the title, Operation Wrath of Saladin, but you have to before you even try to figure out this title, you have to understand who Saladin was, and that's how actually, because in college I studied history, I studied Middle Eastern history as part of my subject course, and one of the history teacher was talking about Saladin and all that. So what I did was I looked at history books. I looked up, I got so fascinated with Saladin and what do you call the history of it? Who was he? All that I had to actually do some research on it, and actually I wanted to find out who this Saladin was, and that's how I actually came up with the title Operation Wrath of Saladin. So I hope that I didn't blab on too much.
No,
Uh, it, and to be honest,
it's Mark. So anything else you want the public to know? Because you don't want the video
um,
too long, so they'll lose their
uh,
interest.
the thing is with I'm also working on another book. I'm working it slowly. It's gonna be called either Operation Golden Dragon or just Golden Dragon. Because what I want to do is I want to turn my books like Operation Wrath of Saladin, and
Series,
yeah, like a series of books.
they all
That's
connect. They're all going to
yeah,
connect.
that's what I want to do. I want to turn these books into a series, basically.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Um, and also with your help, if you can do this for me, because what I really like to do with books such as Operation Ralph Saladin, or The Golden Dragon, all those things. What I want, what I and I will hire whoever I have to hire. If you're willing to do this, that's fine. You are more than welcome. What I like to do is turn my books into a movie script,
Oh,
because I would
we
uh,
know how
my
to write movie
my
scripts, but to
uh,
get it filmed, we would talk to Mr. Grayson. Mr. Grayson, that's
because
his background.
yeah,
He,
with the
he's
movie
a
script,
photographer
because
and movie director.
yeah, because what I want to do is I want to turn my books, well, because my political books, we can't really turn it into a movie, but what we could do, but with the Operation Ralph of Saladin, the Golden Dragon, all those movies, or the Operation Golden Dragon, um or Golden Dragon, so we could turn these books into a movie series,
That's
because
something we
what
had
I'm what
work
I'm thinking, like,
talk about.
yeah, that's some
Not
yeah
on.
that's some yeah that's what I wanted to do.
Well,
It's like I
anything that
want to
you
turn
want to do can happen. You just have to, if you can think it and imagine it and dream it, it can happen. And we'll find a way
yes,
to
and
help you
and
make it
and
happen.
and, and that's what I learned when I started working. I knew I had an imagination, but that's why I'm proud to work with Jazzy Kitty Publications, because although I knew I had imagination in me, and my imagination goes wild when I write a book, because I would bet you that no author, whether no now. I know sometimes I pick on what's his name, Tom Clancy a lot, and all this. I don't pick on him in the negative way, but you know what? But I would bet you that Tom Clancy would not come up with a plot like my book Operation Wrath of Saladin.
When I read
Uh,
it, I
and,
can
and
actually see it. So I can see it becoming a movie. I can see it. Yeah, I can see it.
yeah, and
Spices
that's
Army.
that's one. And that's what one of my that's why one of my books is. I want like the book, the military kind of. And there's a secret behind my military adventure spy series behind it. And I'm going to tell you, those books were kind of inspired to me by Polish books. They used to, when I was growing up in Poland, they had these little books, but there were stories about World War II. See, because I understand, you in America, people grew up on Donald Duck, they grew up on Mickey Mouse,
Right.
they grew up on Pluto, on Goofy, all those things. But when I was little, my father used to buy these little books. Uh, they were called the Yellow Tiger series, but there were stories about World War II, like from 1939. It was about the Warsaw Upper, and then I've kind of when I started to write the book on when I started to write my book Operation Wrath of Saladin. It was based on those little Polish books that kind of my father have read to me when I was a little boy. I mean, because a lot of in America, uh, kids grew up on like I said, Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, all those things. But I was growing when I was little. My father used to buy these little book. It was called from the. See, it was there was a. I mean, this was the publisher was called the Golden Tiger Publishing, but it had like different titles and it had different stories. So that's what my father had. So I've kind of also those little books inspired me to write a book, the Operation Raffle Saladin kind of thing. I mean,
Okay.
I just remember, yeah. So I kind of remembered I kind of remembered those Polish books that my father has read to me, and I kind of based it on that too.
All right.
So
No, awesome.
it's
I want to let the viewers know that Mark has at least 5 titles. It might be 6. I stopped counting. Oh,
seven,
7, excuse me. 7 titles
seven.
that's available now on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, all of the online bookstores you can think of, it's available. And I would take a chance and download or buy his books because you will be very surprised at the ending of the story that keeps you captivated all through the book to make you want to read more to see what happens next. So I encourage you all to get his latest book and learn his writing and want to review the books that he wrote in the beginning because it's very, very good. And I'm not just saying that because I published it, Mark. I'm saying it because it was very interesting when I read it, had to edit it, and I was like, wow, where is he going with this? And finally, I figured, I got to the end and I was like, oh, wow. So ladies and gentlemen, you'll be very happy if you purchase his books. How much do they cost, Mark?
Well, they're all different prices. Well, the
What about
progressive,
the
my
last
my
one?
oldest,
Your first
it was for like my first one was it's like 10.99, but my latest one is like 15 $14.99, $15, something
one,
like that.
which is a
I
good,
mean,
excellent price. Excellent. That's an excellent price.
I I've see the thing is, I've written so many books that I mean, at the end of the day, it gets kind of hard to keep track of them all because so I know that some people say that whether the 7 titles that I have written are is it too little or too much. That really doesn't matter. But let me tell you a little secret about writing. after you publish your third or fourth book, you actually lose count after. Because I mean, I'm going to tell you a funny story. When I wrote my first one, which was progressive credentialism versus ageism, I said, okay, we're done with that. But I'm going to reveal my secret. There's a little secret behind the American Holocaust. It was before, it was when my father was still living. I wrote the book. I put the reference material in there that I had. And actually, my father has read the script. He looked at my research material and he said, nope, you're not publishing it, because, see, my father was afraid that for what I wrote, that something bad was going to happen to me. I says to him, Pop, we got to publish this thing because I cannot keep this in my desk forever. So, one night we sat down, drank our sodas, we had dinner, and we started to talk. I said, stop. And I was like, somebody's got to publish this. And my father was like, okay, son, but where are you going to get the publisher to publish it? Because he said, I will guarantee you that a lot of those publishers will turn you down, et cetera, et cetera. But then I found you, and then all of a sudden it just came, it was like at a snap of a finger. It was like, I was like, gee, my books were out there. And I was like, I cannot say enough how grateful I am for that you took a chance on a small published author like me. Because being let me for those of you who are inspiring to be authors, that's great. That's great, because the more authors we have, the merrier. I don't have anything to answer, because if there's more book authors, the better off we are. And sometimes we write good books, sometimes bad books, whatever. But the thing is, being a book author, it is the hardest job out there. And it's not because of the writing books, because that's what I enjoy doing. But the hardest part on running a book, it's actually finding publishers and finding people who will actually publish your book. That's the hard part.
And
But then
marketing too.
but
Marketing is also difficult.
but
Bad
but but
strategy.
but like but once you enjoy something, like, for example, I do enjoy writing. Once you start enjoying your writing, that is something that you want to do, then just go for it. And don't ever listen to your English teachers. Don't listen to, if somebody tells you that you're not going to be a good writer, keep doing it.
That's good. That's
Just
good advice,
and
Mark.
you
But
and
we're
then
going to end the session because it's been 30 minutes and we don't want to get our viewers.
okay, yeah, you're right. Okay.
We can always come back and have another session with you because you have a
Yes,
lot to tell us, and I'm
right.
interested in hearing what you have to say. So, any authors out there that's looking for a publisher, Jazz and Kitty Publications is my website. Phone number is 877-782-5550. My direct phone number is 302-897-8842. And would love to hear from you and love to make you a published author just like Mark. Mark, say what you want to say and say goodbye to the fans.
I would like now. What I like to say is thank you to Mr. Nelda for taking her time out of her busy day to actually do this interview, and I am looking forward to working with you on my other books. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I will see my fans in the next interview. Oh, by the way, let me mention one thing. I do have my YouTube. All you have to do is look up Mark Wrobel, and I discuss different different topics like like all different topics in my YouTube videos as well. So I have a Facebook page, I have a YouTube page, and all those other things. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I will see you in the next video.
Okay, great. Thank you for listening and tuning in.